What if I told you someone could make you do exactly what they want today, and you'd walk away completely convinced the decision was entirely your own? Not through force, not through lies, just 5 subtle psychological techniques applied so precisely you'd never even notice them working. This is the same playbook used by hostage negotiators, elite marketers, world leaders, and let's be honest, the most dangerous manipulators you'll ever meet. It isn't magic. It's psychology. Pure, tested, peer-reviewed psychology. And once you understand how these 5 techniques really work, you'll never look at another conversation the same way again. But before we begin, one important thing. Everything you're about to learn is real. It's backed by decades of research from some of the most respected psychologists in the world. Learn it first to protect yourself. What you choose to do with this knowledge after that is entirely up to you. Now, let's begin the countdown. Technique 5, the reverse trap. Human beings are naturally drawn to the very things they're told they can't have. Tell someone, whatever you do, don't turn around, and chances are their body starts turning before their brain even makes the decision. Tell someone, don't click this video, and suddenly their thumb is already moving toward the screen. Psychologists have a name for this: psychological reactance. The moment someone feels their freedom to choose is being restricted, their brain sounds an internal alarm, and almost instinctively, they try to take that freedom back, sometimes by doing the exact opposite of what they were told. Now watch how this works in everyday life. Imagine you ask a friend, "Can you help me with this?" There's a real chance they'll say no. But instead, imagine saying, "Never mind, it's probably too difficult. I don't think you could pull it off." Notice what happens. You never actually asked for help. You challenged their ability. Now their ego starts doing the convincing for you. Instead of refusing, they suddenly want to prove themselves. Of course I can do it. That's the power of reverse psychology. Technique 4, master of choice. Most people believe they make their own decisions freely. They don't. They simply choose from whatever options are placed in front of them. And the real power was never in forcing a decision. It was in designing the menu. Imagine asking someone, "Do you want to go out?" You've just handed them an easy way to say no. But ask instead, "Should we go to Pizza Hut or Domino's?" Now the entire game changes. There's no left on the table. Both choices lead to the exact same destination: going out with you. They'll walk away believing they made the decision themselves, but you'll know you simply designed the frame. That decision was made inside. This is exactly how global brands operate. Buy one, get one free. Buy two, get 50% off. You feel like you found the smarter deal, but either way, you're still buying. Remember this: people rarely want unlimited freedom. They simply want to feel free, while their ego stays protected. Control the options, and you'll quietly influence the outcome. Technique Hag 3, the guilt mirror. Guilt may be one of the most underestimated emotions in all of human psychology. Pressure often creates resistance. Force someone, and they'll naturally push back. But guilt works differently. It doesn't force people to change. It makes them change themselves. Imagine a friend who constantly promises to make time for you, but somehow never does. If you say, "You never make time for me," you'll probably get defensiveness, excuses, distance. But now, try something different. Say, "I understand. If I really mattered to you, I guess, you would have made the time." Notice what happens. You didn't accuse them. You didn't argue. You didn't demand anything. You simply held up a mirror. Now they're the one explaining. They're the one apologizing. They're the one trying to reconnect. Not because you forced them, because their own emotions did the work for you. That's the quiet power of guilt. Technique 2, the emotional hijack. Most human decisions aren't made with logic. They're made with emotion. And then logic gets invited in afterward to justify what emotion has already decided. Whoever controls someone's emotional state in a given moment often controls the direction of their decision. Watch any political speech closely. The most effective ones rarely begin with facts. They begin with fear, with pride, with hope, with anger, because facts can be forgotten, but feelings leave a lasting impression. The moment someone becomes emotionally invested, their decisions begin to shift, almost without realizing it. That's why the strongest influencers don't simply change your mind, they change how you feel. And once your emotions change, your decisions often follow. Technique #1, the power of silence. Real power was never in the loudest voice in the room. Think back to a moment when you made a mistake. Maybe one parent raised their voice, scolded you, filled the room with noise, but then the other parent looked at you and said absolutely nothing. Somehow that silence felt heavier than all the shouting combined. Why? Because when nobody speaks, your own mind starts speaking for them. It fills the silence with possibilities, with questions, with consequences, and most of the time, those imagined consequences feel worse than reality itself. Silence creates pressure, not because of what is said, but because of what isn't. Here's how to use it. If you believe someone is hiding something, don't demand the truth. Simply say, I already know everything. Then say nothing. Hold eye contact. Stay calm. The longer the silence lasts, the more uncomfortable they become. And many people will eventually fill that silence by revealing far more than they ever intended. The same principle applies during an argument. Don't raise your voice. Don't rush to defend yourself. Hold steady eye contact. Wear a small, calm smile, and let the silence do the work. Very often, the other person begins questioning their own words without you saying another one. Sometimes the strongest statement isn't spoken at all. 5 techniques. One common thread, connecting all of them. The people who influence the world aren't always the loudest. They aren't always the most aggressive, and they certainly aren't the most forceful. The people with the greatest influence are the ones who understand the human mind well enough to work with it instead of against it. That's the real difference. Use this knowledge first to recognize when someone is using these techniques on you. Use it to communicate with greater precision. Use it to understand people at a level most never will. Because once you understand why people behave the way they do, you stop reacting emotionally and start responding intelligently. You begin to notice the hidden patterns, the subtle signals, the psychological games that most people never even realize are happening around them. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. That's what real awareness looks like. Not controlling people, but understanding them. Not manipulation, but clarity. Not power over others, but power over your own decisions. If this video gave you a completely new way of looking at the people around you, make sure to subscribe, because this is only the beginning.